Getting used to getting this kind of attention?
I hope so. I think it's part of it. When you talk about being a good program, being a good team, part of it is then dealing with what that entails. Having more attention on you, having more expectations. It's a part of the process that I want the guys to enjoy, but also, again, I've talked about it a lot, not get sidetracked of why we got to this point. Because if you get sidetracked, then the cameras go away real quick and the microphones go away real quick and it goes the other way. So, we're trying to have that fine line. We're trying to enjoy the process, have fun with it, but also stay really focused on what we still have left with the rest of the season. Scotty will be out tomorrow night, but he's doing good. He's doing really well. He's able to progress. He's been doing a little bit more, and hopefully sooner rather than later. He's just not ready to go tomorrow. So.
Why did Tap start tomorrow? Is Tap going to start again tomorrow?
I just went. I mean, you guys know me. We had lost 2 games, so part of it was matchups too. Wisconsin had a really big team, and I felt like starting Tap Horn could allow him. I wanted Vic to guard Koenig, so I think starting a bigger guy like Tap Horn allowed him to guard Vito Brown, and Isaiah still played 25 minutes, so it wasn't like it was a big deal, and it was just more matchup based. And we'll see how we go for tomorrow. We're not sure yet. I think with what we have without Scotty, I think it's kind of a game by game deal on who's going to start in that spot.
Overall, how would you say your players have responded without Scotty out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sunday was a big step. We had lost the 2 games without him, and I think there's a tendency to lose some confidence, especially when you don't have a key guy in the lineup. You have 2 tough losses, especially the Illinois loss. It was kind of a rivalry game. You're at home. We had the lead with 3 minutes to go. I think it took us a couple days to kind of regroup from that one to get back on track to saying, you know what, guys, we gotta stay the course. It's part of the season, and whether it's Wisconsin or anybody, we got to now go on the road and we got to find a way to win. And so I think Sunday, and obviously being Wisconsin, being the best team in our league, being a really tough place to play, it would always be a great win. But under the circumstances, with Scotty out, coming off 2 losses, I think it was a really important game for us to kind of get back on track and regain some of our confidence that we've had most of the season.
A lot of people are calling that, some people anyway, the biggest win in program history. I mean, you don't want that to get into the kids' head too much,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it was important for me. I wanted them to enjoy the win. We always enjoy the successes. We celebrate in the locker room, have fun, and I think it kind of helped. We had the 2.5 hour bus ride, from Madison, and I told them on the bus, like, get all your text messages and get all that stuff out of your system these next 2.5 hours. Get back to your family and everybody telling you how good you are and what you did tonight. And I said, when we pull into campus, we got to move on to Maryland because it's a quick turnaround. And we know what kind of program and what kind of team Maryland has, and we moved on. We didn't watch any film from Wisconsin. It was all about moving on to the next game. We can't allow a big win like that to then not focus us on the next game or what we have in front of us. You got to just like if you beat any other team. That's what a conference is about. Win or lose, you got to move on to the next game.
What do you see in Maryland?
Well, I see a really potent team offensively. They can score from all 5 positions. They have 3 guys, 3 terrific playmakers, in Trimble, Cowan, and Herder as a forward. He's more of like a point forward. He can play in pick and rolls. They really pass the ball well. I think the addition of some of those playmakers has made Mello even better because it's not on his shoulders to make a lot of the plays like he's had to in the past. And Justin Jackson as a shooter at the 4 spot, they're a terrific team. I mean, I think they're they're definitely one of the top teams not only in our league but even nationally. And the thing I always admire about them is when they're in close games, they win them, and that shows a real resolve. It shows a well-disciplined team who knows how to close out and knows how to win when the game's on the line.
Chris, when you were hired here, you talked about turning this place into sort of like a Cameron resort. Do you see that kind of happening now?
Well, the crowds have been great, and I always envisioned, and I likened it back to my last high school game I played in here, and it was sold out. and we played Stevenson, and it was so loud, and it was an amazing environment, and that's what I envisioned for this place to become. You know, it's unique in the size where everybody's right on the court, and these conference games we played at home, it's made a big difference for us. I mean, our home court advantage has been decided this year, and you know, maybe in the past it wasn't that way, whether it wasn't sold out or, you know, a lot of times there's so many grads from other Big Ten schools in this area in Chicago, so it ended up being a 50-50 or, you know, not the home court advantage we needed. And this year has been great, and it was something that I always envisioned. I thought it, you know, and part of it was on us. We needed to become good. I mean, people want to see a good product. They want to see a team that's fun to watch and exciting and competitive and with a chance to win. And I think now that we've become a team that can do those things, the people have come out and really supported us in a big way, which has been awesome.
After a game like Sunday where Brian steps up, puts up these big numbers, do you find yourself thinking back to kind of where it all started when he was kind of one of those first big commits for you guys and what he meant to the program to what he's helped with now? Yeah, I mean,
I'm indebted to those first four guys, you know, that jumped on. You know, that first class with McIntosh, Law, Lindsey, Skelly, because really all they were hanging on to was a vision, was a dream. You know, there were no banners in here. There was nothing to hang our hat on with tradition. I was a rookie coach. I'd never even coached a game. And to try to get those guys to believe in what I wanted this to become and this process, and now to see them 4 years later have the success and get the attention and, you know, kind of make this program relevant, you know, not only in the area but nationally. It means a lot to me because those guys took a big leap of faith to come here, you know, with really nothing to hang on except for, you know, I just believe in what Coach Collins is selling, you know, and his vision and what he wants it, and I want to be a part of that. And so I'm so happy that these guys are at the forefront of what's going on here because they deserve it for their loyalty and their faith in me.
Similarly, Chris, with
I'm sorry.
Gary Barnett kind of called that belief without evidence.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny, when I first got the job, you know, I got his book that was given to me, you know, about the Rose Bowl season, and not so much about that, but just how he built it and his attitude and how he wanted to kind of build the culture and the belief that, you know what, we can win here, we can be that team. And so, you know, I kind of referenced that. I read it a couple times actually, just and it motivated me to do that on the basketball side of things.
You were talking about first floor. What about Taphorn and Sanjay staying with you similarly?
Yeah, no question. I mean, and those guys, I mean, I consider those guys my guys too. I mean, even though they were recruited by a different staff, you know, they played for me as freshmen. They were part of that first team. And, you know, I talk about that team all the time. You know, anytime you come into a new situation, there's got to be a group of guys that believe and buy in and kind of help you get off to the right start. I mean, Drew Crawford's a big guy. You know, when I think of maybe the biggest thing that ever happened to me was my first year, Drew Crawford deciding to stay and not being a grad transfer. You know, because I don't know if we would have won any games the whole year if we didn't have Drew, you know, in year one. So, I mean, there's so many guys that, you know, from day one believed in what my staff and I were trying to do. There was never any hesitation in their belief. They stuck with us. It wasn't always easy. We had long losing streaks. We went through tough times. But like you said, Sanjay, Taphorn, and this junior class, you know, these guys are guys that have been here, you know, in the beginning, and they fought through things, and they've worked, and they've invested, and I'm just excited for them that they get a chance to, you know, continue to see this thing through and not be satisfied. That's what I like. I mean, we're not where we want to be. You know, it's exciting that we're in a position to get to where we want to be, but we're not there, and we still have to finish, you know, the season off strong, and tomorrow is another big game for us.
Is there a balance that you kind of have to strike? On the one hand, you know how big a deal it is to make the NCAA tournament at the Falcons, but yet you also want to do more than just make the tournament.
Yeah. Well, for me, and I've talked about it even when I first got hired, and I understand, I'm not shying away from the NCAA tournament question. I know that's on everybody's mind because it's historically something that hasn't been done, and people want to see it be done. So I'm not avoiding that, but really when I came here, it wasn't about going to the NCAA tournament. I viewed this as a situation where it's a great school in a great city that plays in one of the best conferences, arguably the best conference in college basketball. Like, why can't we have a program that's good every year? And I knew it was going to take time, but why? And one step of the process is, and it's a big step, if you want to have a good program that's consistently good, then you have to go to the NCAA tournament. So, I get that. It'll be a big step in our process whenever that happens. But for me, it's never been about the NCAA tournament. It's been about trying to have a program that can go to NCAA tournaments and then compete in NCAA tournaments. And that's what we're going to continue to strive to be.
What's it like trying to change the culture in a program that doesn't really have a lot of past successes to point to?
It's challenging, but for me, it was a fun challenge. It was, I had to do it a little bit in high school, but that was as a player. But then I went to a program that was already on top. So I was, for 17 years, I was a part of trying to maintain, which was fun and equally as challenging, but, we were already at the top and we were just trying to stay there. So at the end of the day, though, it's really fun to be a part of something if you can get in on the ground level and build. And you go through struggles and you go through tough times and you get a group of guys that believe in each other and you keep fighting. And so it's been challenging, but it's really been fun because I've seen little by little the program continue to change. And the hardest thing is, the last thing that usually turns the corner when you're changing a culture is what you guys see, the results on the floor. The first things that start to change is the way the guys work, how they invest in nutrition and strength and conditioning and extra film work and coming in at night and working out with coaches. And, so we were seeing all those things happen, but then maybe not getting the final result with the wins and losses, which was what all the public sees. So to me, that was the hardest part because I was seeing a lot of changes, but then we weren't getting over the hump. We're losing a lot of close games and getting our hearts broken at the end of games. And, and you look back on it now, and that's part of the process. You got to learn through that, and you got to be tough through that. And I think it's really helped us this year, and why we've been a lot better in close games.
You talked about in the offseason how the swagger was different, just different mentality amongst this group. Have they surprised you even past that? The level they played at with injuries?
Yeah, I noticed it right away in the summer. There was just a difference in the way our guys were carrying themselves. They believed they were a good team. They believed they were going to have a great year. And and I'm not making excuses because everybody's had it, but then we had a starter at the beginning of the year, Aaron Falzone. He hasn't played the whole year. And then we lose Derek Pardon for 8 games, which is a third of our season, who's our anchor inside. And now we've had to go through with Scotty Lindsey. So we've kind of had to deal throughout the season with not having our full complement of guys that we thought we were going to have. And our guys have just taken it in stride. There's been no excuses. It's been a next man up kind of mentality, like, hey, no one's going to feel sorry for us. We got to go out with what we got, and we got to figure out a way. But I've been really proud of the mindset of this team, and it just helped. There's no agendas other than trying to win. And as a coach, it makes it fun to coach guys that are just trying to win. I don't ever coach attitude with these guys. I don't ever have to coach effort. Really what I have to coach with my staff is execution. Are we executing on both ends of the floor? And that makes it fun, because when you have to spend a lot of time trying to get effort or trying to get guys to be together or trying to, get attitudes in place, then usually it doesn't end up too well.
Time for one last question for Taplorn. How has he embraced being a senior but not playing a ton of minutes this year, and what kind of reward was it for him to get that first start?
Yeah, Tap Nate has been great. I love having him in our program. He's as good a guy as we have. He's a team guy. You guys see him, whether he's playing or he's not, he's equally excited. He loves the successes of his teammates. And he's always been a guy that's just kind of been ready, whether he had to start the other night against Wisconsin or he's had to be a guy who comes off the bench. He's dealt with injuries of his own that he's had to deal with throughout his career. And I'm happy for him. He's in a great place mentally. He just wants to win. And he knows he's a senior. this is the last year for him. He has that senior year urgency, he and Sanjay, that we talk about a lot. Like, you need the group to have that senior year urgency, because there is no other chances for those guys. So I've been really proud of Nate this year. He's helped us win a lot of games, and I think he'll continue to help us down the stretch.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you guys.